Hi everyone, and welcome to our Google Hangout today. I'm joined by Dan from All Things Man United and the neutral Liam. How you guys doing?
Very
Yeah,
good,
good.
thank you.
And today we're going to give our team of the season. It's been a crazy season so far. There's a few games left, but we wanted to come out and give our team of the season. Uh, Pretty much Chelsea has had the league since the day one, match week one. There's been some ups, some downs for clubs. Some managers have been sacked. Some highlights, some incredible goals. And today we're going to give our teams of the season. So we're going to start right off with the goalkeeper. And I think all of us are in agreement that David De Gea is by far and away the goalkeeper of the season. Now, there's a good shout for Courtois, but you have to look at Courtois' back line, and the amount of saves De Gea has made to save points for United has been, if they didn't have De Gea, you could argue they would be fifth or sixth. So I'll go to Dan first. Dan, you want to give a couple words on David De Gea and his performance this year?
Yeah, he's been absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's had so much work to do, especially early on in the season. Games like against Everton at home and Liverpool at home, they really spring to mind where he's had to make fantastic saves to keep us in the game when technically we could have let a couple of goals in and lost games, especially them two really spring to mind. And there is other games, but he's had so much more work to do than Courtois, so I'll definitely put him in ahead of everyone else.
Okay, and Liam, as a neutral, we always enjoy that perspective. Speaking from that side where you're not really biased, what did you think about David De Gea this season?
No, I think he's been phenomenal. I think he's saved Manchester United so many points. And he's just so crucial. Even, the Man U defence has been quite shaky. And I think it's safe to say many United fans can say that. But when you have such a confident keeper in the back of the net, I think the defence also plays a little bit better as well. So I think that's why the form recently has been a lot better. I generally think it's down to De Gea because, like I say, he's saved so many points for United, and he could potentially just be the difference between that fourth, third, even fifth spot. So, definitely crucial keeper. And I think, hopefully, in United's fans' point of view, he signs a new contract and doesn't decide to get on a plane to Madrid.
Yeah, I think you spoke for every United fan when you say that David De Gea should sign a contract. Maybe if there's some way we could trick him into doing that, I don't know. But he's been crucial to the United season. Like you said, he saved so many points. I mean, you think of the Everton game and other ones come to mind. But we're going to get into our back four right now. I think we all went for a classic 4-4-2 style. I'll give you my back four. I went with Azpilicueta, John Terry, Chris Smalling, and Ryan Bertrand. Now, I went with all these players because they've been consistent over the year, most of them. I mean, we're going to talk about Smalling in a second for me. Ever since the City red card, he was rewarded with a new contract today. He has been, reliable. He's been good in the air. He's been good on the ball. Everything that he wasn't too good at before, he's excelled and progressed as a center back, and that's what you want to see. You don't want, there's too many English players who have this, they have potential, but they don't, fulfill it. And I think Chris Smalling's really coming into his own. So I could have put Gary Cahill there or Jose Font, but I wanted to put Chris Smalling in and reward him for his hard work. It's not like, you get a medal or money for being in my team of the season. You just get some recognition on a video. But same thing with Bertrand, Chelsea loanee, I believe. I don't know if they purchased him yet, but he's been consistent all year. And same thing with John Terry. I hate the guy, but I can't, he's a rock at the back. He has been forever, Mr. Chelsea. So that's my back four. I'll go to Liam next. Liam, let's hear your back four.
Well, I'm going to make a quick change to mine, actually. I think I'm going to agree with you, Jay. Smalling, actually, instead of Koscielny. I was going to go for Koscielny, but then I was just thinking, Smalling, 4 goals this season compared to Evans, Jones, and Rojo. They've scored none at all. So, he's been that kind of dominant man who Van Gaal can rely on in big games. So I definitely think, Smalling, for me, same again. Terry, he is just that brute force of Chelsea's defence. He's the passion. He's the captain, and he just like you said, Mr. Chelsea, and he's saved them a lot of times. Right back and left back. Start with left back. I've done that with Quetta. I think overall, just Chelsea's performances, that they're a solid team, and he can run an attack, and he can be a dangerous threat even on the wings. And I'm going to give a Southampton player I mentioned because Nathaniel Klein linked with many big top clubs over the summer. Decided to stay loyal with Southampton. I really like praise that, and hopefully same things in the future. Because I mean, at the start of the season, pretty much every fan who wasn't, or even Southampton fans probably thought, this is going to be a terrible season considering the amount of people that let go. Lambert, Lallana, Shaw. The list was just going on. But no, I think Klein, he's been solid at right back, and potentially Europa League spot. So that'd be a great season for them, considering where people thought they might be.
Yeah, funny. Everyone thought Southampton's getting relegated and United are going to win every game 10-8. So, I mean, you know how it is towards the end of the summer. Everybody's got that crazy, summer heat going on, and it messes with their brain, and they say funny stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully Nathaniel Klein's following in the footsteps of another Southampton fullback on his way to Carrington. So yeah, I mean, you can't really argue with either four. So Dan, let's hear your four.
Yeah, I'm gonna change it slightly actually and put Gary Cahill alongside John Terry. I think they've been solid at the back this season, kept a decent amount of clean sheets. They're not letting too many goals in. John Terry's been fantastic again this season. And I'm going to go with Asu Akweto at left back. I think he's been a real decent player for Chelsea this season. And I'll go for Nathaniel Klein at right back. I think he's done a real decent job for Southampton. They've kept a lot of clean sheets as well, and they're defending really well. So I'm going to put just one of their players in there.
Okay, and now we'll move on to the midfield. I won't go first. I will give it off to Dan. I want to hear your midfield four.
The whole four. Well, I'm going to put Hazard on one side and Sanchez on the other. I think that Hazard's been fantastic this season. And probably going to be Player of the Year. He scored plenty of goals and really helped Chelsea win the league this season. And Sanchez has also been fantastic for Arsenal. Scored bags of goals. In the middle, I'm going to obviously have another two Chelsea players. I'm going to put Fabregas, who's assisted so many goals this season. He has tailed off a bit towards the end of the season, but the beginning half, when he helped Chelsea stick clear at the top of the table, he's really was playing well. I think he's got at least about 14 or 15 assists this year, which is fantastic. And Matic, I'm going to put him in there as well. I think especially early on in the season, he was really fantastic for Chelsea. Maybe as well has tailed off a little bit, but still, I think he's been fantastic this season.
Yeah, I really can't argue with that. I have three of the four that are the same. I have Alexis Sanchez in there and Hazard on the wings. I think Alexis Sanchez has been, so influential for Arsenal. When they weren't getting it from other players, he would always pop up with a crucial goal, and he scored a lot of crucial goals this season. It has tailed off a little bit in the second half, but some of that can be from exhaustion. But I just think for Arsenal, what a great signing. Maybe signing of the year. You could argue Costa and others, but I think Alexis Sanchez has had a massive impact on Arsenal. And hopefully he doesn't continue to do it. Hopefully he tails off, again. But obviously I'm biased. Eden Hazard, same thing. I think he's the most fouled player in the Premier League, which says a lot. He's not afraid to run at players with the ball. It's a shame he didn't come to United because he fits all the qualities of a United winger. Pace, bravery, everything in his game is just overall, and I think it's going to be interesting to see if he takes the next step under Mourinho and really becomes a superstar because he has the ability. It's just a shame that he's asked to park the bus at home, And in the middle, I went with Matic too. He's been a rock for Chelsea. He lets the other players do what they do. He allows Fabregas to do that creative stuff. So I couldn't argue with Matic. My other midfielder, I went with Francis Coquelin because I think, again, he's been really influential for Arsenal. They've been lacking that player for some time now, and they had him all along. And he's been a really, really good player in the middle. I've watched a couple games. His tackling is fantastic. Not a lot gets by him, and he's a quality player for them. It'll be interesting to see how he continues to progress under Wenger and into that team. Because they have, the Arsenal team have a bright future if they can add a little bit to it. And it seems that they had learned to finally play counterattack or a little defensive away from home. You don't always have to play beautiful football. But yeah, that's mine. Liam, we'll go to you next.
Okay, so my four in the midfield. Sure, on the wings is Hazard and Alexis. Start with Alexis, 22 goals in all competitions. I mean, he scored 2 goals against Reading to get him through to the final of the FA Cup. I think he's just been that influential player. And yeah, I think he could be actually one of the best signings of the summer. A lot of players, it takes them a while to adapt to the Premier League. Some has shown that it hasn't worked for them, but Alexis has just come in. His work rate is incredible. He just doesn't stop for that 90 minutes. He always wants the ball, and that is what you want in a player. He's passionate to play for Arsenal, and okay, Champions League they haven't done so well, but League they're second, which you say Arsenal was just the 4th trophy for them, and look, they got the 2nd FA Cup. It is hard to say, but I'd probably presume them to beat Villa again. So 2 FA Cup on the bounces for Arsenal. But yeah, I think Sanchez, for me, a top talent. And I think a lot of clubs obviously could have got him in the summer, but he chose Arsenal, and shown to be very proven on that right side. On the left, I've got Hazard. I think it's pretty obvious that everybody would have Hazard. I think he'll win Player of the Year probably. He just comes up with this spark of magic, and I think with Chelsea they're just so clinical with their chances as well. They're just so influential, and they just combine so well together. I think even his goal against United, he's just a few passes here and there, and he's in the back of the net. It just looks so easy for him when he's in penalty, so calm, collective. He doesn't even look like he's trying half the time, and that shows what classy player he is, and I'm sure he'll keep flourishing well under Mourinho. In the middle, I've gone Coquelin, and it was a debate between Matic and Fabregas, but Fabregas had a fantastic start to the season, kind of went off at the end, so I kind of decided it for me who was going to be put in the middle. But yeah, Coquelin for me, I saw him once, Cholton, which is my local team here, and he was from Cholton, where he was just kind of he will see like Arsenal, he was barely used, but many just in under 21s cup games and stuff. But he came from Cholton. He worked really hard, and obviously Wenger saw something to put him in the team. And since then, he's just been, he just blocks everything. Even the semi-final, he's played amazing. Pretty much every game I've seen him so far this season for Arsenal, he's just been so influential. And I think Arsenal are very grateful to have him in the middle, and I'm sure he's going to become a great talent. And the same for Matic, another rock still player. Come from Benfica, and I think I've always just known him to probably be one of the best centre mids in the Premier League. I think he will always be until he retires. There's been many occasions where Chelsea could have slipped up on more points, but I've watched him, and he's the man that's kind of been there. He bullies people off the ball. You'd think Yaya Toure would, play. I would love to put him there. Everyone think he would, but I think he's a much more of a fantastic season when it comes to them two. So yeah, I think Matic gets the one in the middle for me.
Yeah, we don't really take into consideration the way players have acted all season, but Yaya Toure, he's coming out today and admitting his admiration for PSG and talking about new challenges and things like that, and you can see that he kind of gave up on his team halfway through the year. Yaya Toure should be a shoo-in for this, with the talent he's got some decent players around him. He scored a lot of goals last season, so it's disappointing that he's not in the team. I mean, it's good for fans of other clubs, but if you're a City fan, that's not really something you want to see or hear, But we'll move on to strikers. We'll go right back to you again, Liam. Can I have your 2 strikers?
Sure you can. Right, I think Diego Costa and Harry Kane for me. I'll start with Harry Kane. 30 goals in all competitions. The guy is quite insane. How this guy, the form he's just got is quite incredible. I mean, obviously we've seen Bow, but I mean, I think he's only 3 goals off from actually beating any Spurs player in history. Scored the most in one season. So yeah, I think he's only 3 or 4 off Bow, and there's a few games to go. So I think he can possibly do it. But he's so cool on the ball, And Spurs, I think they're 6th or they're 7th. They don't look like they're going to get the top 4 position. But I think Spurs can hold on to Harry Kane. I think he'll probably stay. I think he's only young still. I think he's around 21 or something. But I think if Spurs can keep him, very influential for them. And I think Spurs have that kind of team where they got Lloris in goal. Personally, he's one of the best keepers in the world. And they're those kind of players, Vertonghen, Chadley. Lamella, they're kind of players, okay, they're not top star, but if they can all kind of work well together, I definitely think, next season they can really push for a top 4 spot. There's probably a few places they probably need to replace. People like Eric Dier, they haven't really worked. But even like Townsend, I know he's so far off the boat, but I still think he's got a lot of potential. So I think Spurs have got good players. If they can all link up with Kane, I think, he's just, when they beat Chelsea 5-3 at White Hart Lane, a complete shock to me. But Harry Kane once again comes up with goods. The goal against Newcastle in the 91st minute. They come for the win, but he just puts the cherry on the cake every time. And that's why I chose Harry Kane. And next to him, Costa. I think, I even hate him so much, but he is that player who gets under defender's skin, and he just teases them, and it's in the back of the net. And I think they killed off the start of the season so quickly. I thought the title was pretty much done in October, if I'm honest. I think it's Chelsea's now, personally. Even if Arsenal beat Chelsea, I don't think much can happen. I think they've still got a game in hand. So, I think Costa, like I said, I would have stuck Fabregas in there, but those kind of players at the start of the season are so influential with assists and goals. So for me, Diego Costa and Harry Kane.
All right. I got a birthday invitation for Diego Costa's 43rd birthday. I got a +1, so I'll let you know. Moving on. I have the same too. Harry Kane, so influential, 30 goals. He just came out of nowhere. I think Tottenham should thank Sherwood for that, because if it weren't for him, he probably would have left the club. Actually, I think he almost certainly would have left the club. He just came out of nowhere, and he was just, head, left foot, right foot, scoring influential goals. And they do have some really nice pieces that they could build around him. They have Christian Eriksen. They have talented players in Lamella and Townsend and Chadley. A few outgoings and a few incomings, and Spurs should be able to challenge for the top 4. They have the thing of playing in London at the Lane to sell. If they could somehow just lose some games and not have to play in Europa League, I think that would greatly help them. Or they should just go all out and try and win the Europa League and try and get Champions League qualification through that. Same thing with Diego Costa. The guy, he scored so many goals so quick. What he did in the first quarter of the season, won Chelsea the league. A lot of people don't like him. He's a prick. He's going to get under your skin. He's going to bully you around. But I kind of like that a little bit. I like the personality he has. He's a little mental at times, and sometimes it's uncalled for and over the top. But the guy, won Chelsea the league pretty much. We said last year when they were so good against the top sides but not so good against the smaller sides, watch them get a striker and they're going to fly. They're going to win the league, and they did. I can't really argue with those two. Dan, how about you?
No, I can't really argue. I'd have to go with Costa and Kane again. Although I may, if Olivier Giroud had been fit all season, I may have picked him ahead of Diego Costa, because lately he has been absolutely on fire for Arsenal. Scored a hell of a lot of goals, but he missed a large chunk of the season. So I've put Diego Costa in ahead of him, but I'd definitely put Harry Kane in there. I think he's been absolutely fantastic, and he's continuing that. Diego Costa's obviously got injury problems now. And I said at the start of the season that if Chelsea aren't to win the league, I think that it would be only down to whether Costa can stay fit or not. And he's managed to stay fit enough to get them almost over the line. So, but if he'd had any more injury problems early on, I'm not so sure that Chelsea would have won it, because they have been heavily reliant on Costa, which is why I've stuck him in my team.
Giroud has come on the last 2 months, and during this winning run Arsenal is on, he's been scoring goals left, right, and center. So that's it. That's our team of the year. Leave your team in the comments below. Any arguments with any of the players that we've chosen. I know somebody's going to come at me for Chris Smalling. Coquelin, I'm sure someone will come in for, and whatever. So moving on, we're going to go with our manager of the season. I'm going to go first. I'll be a bit controversial. I'm going to say Alan Pardew, because of what he did at Newcastle during that nice winning run they had. They beat Chelsea. I think they were the first team to do it. And then he goes, Crystal Palace they buy out his contract, and he goes there, and, he's done some really good things. Who did they just beat? They beat City a few weeks back. It's just something about going to Crystal Palace late in the year, and they just love, upsetting the top teams. And I think he's done a fantastic job there. And I think that shows that Newcastle, they really need to, Mike Ashley needs to look at himself and stop, Newcastle fans were all over Pardew. Granted, he didn't do the best there, but you can only, work with what you're given, and sometimes the resources weren't always there. So my shout's Alan Pardew. I could have gone a few other routes. I think Liam has another one, and I think I could have gone with Liam's choice too. So, Liam?
Yeah, once again, they're going to be a bit controversial. Ronald Koeman, I think, fair play to the guy. The amount of people, even Southampton fans, were saying this is going to be a terrible season, for Southampton, and how they've completely turned it around. To be fair, I don't think they've turned it around. They've just let the players go, like Lambert, Lallana, Lovren. These were great players. But to be fair, they've all gone their separate ways, and have they really flourished? All three of them gone Liverpool, obviously. Me, no, they haven't. Southampton, they were always that kind of Everton level, bit more mid-table, but now I think they can push for Europa League, and I think that'd be a fantastic season for them. I think you can say, Mourinho's the straight-out probably winner. Typically, he's won 2 trophies this season. But when you look at money-wise, the amount of profit Southampton have also made, and how much they've spent, getting Fraser Forster, what a great buy. I think he's a top-class keeper. Like I said, Klein's obviously in my team of the season. He's got a good team there. Tadic, one of them. He's been essential for them. Pele, that's a great buy. I know these kind of players have gone off a bit. Everyone was thinking they're going for the league at one point, but I knew probably that was going to die off at one point. But Champions League, I don't think they'll get, but Europa League definitely. And I think that'd be an absolutely fantastic season if they can get that. And I think they'll definitely push for it.
And Dan?
Yeah, I'm going to go for Jose Mourinho. I think.
Are you a Chelsea fan in disguise?
No. I just think because he's going to win 2 trophies this season. I don't like the style of play he implements in the Chelsea team, but obviously it's successful, and he wins trophies doing it, and they've won the league and the League Cup. So I would put him as the manager. He is the favourite. He's done what he set out to do, get the league back to Stamford Bridge after I think 5 years of waiting. So you can't really argue with that. A lot of people don't like him because of the way he parks the bus a lot in games, but he's successful at doing it and wins trophies doing it.
Yeah, we're going to have to sort you out after this. How many? You might as well just pick Chelsea 11 as your team of the season, going for Mourinho as manager. I don't know. Next thing you know, he'll pop up with a Chelsea tattoo. So that's it for today. We just want to do team of the season, manager of the season. This was actually the United Man's idea. He couldn't be on with us. So we'll get him on our next video. We're going to do goal of the season and player of the season. So check out that. Look out for that. Liam's going to be doing some more stuff with us, I hope. Liam, where else can people find you?
You can find me at Liam P.O. Edwards. I love football and happy to have a great debate about it.
Excellent. And this is Dan's channel. I'm just filling in hosting for him. You can find Dan at where on Twitter?
Daniel H1558.
Okay, so that was actually the year Diego Costa was born, 1558. So I told you Dan's a Chelsea fan. He had to put that in his Twitter handle. So yeah, just make sure you subscribe to the channel. My Twitter's right here somewhere, like right there. Yeah. Leave your team of the season in the comments. Make sure you like the video, share it with your friends, and look out for more we'll have for you. So everyone have a good night and enjoy the Champions League, because we'll be back in it next season.